What's up, everybody? It's AJ, and I'm back with another reaction. Let's get into it.
Tasered and set on fire because the officer decided to do it, well, at a gas pump. Here it is.
I'm asking for is your license right now to identify you.
What am I being arrested for?
You are not cooperating for having committed a crime.
What? A misdemeanor? A misdemeanor. It's a $10.
Get out of the ground.
Woo!
Guy just got tased. Fire.
That's wild. That's the definition of lighting them up.
Fire at the gas station.
Get out of the ground. Get out of the ground.
Wait, you like a bird.
I know.
But still get on the ground right there by the.
It's on fire. You guys need to move back.
Where we have the update.
Smooth barbecued that man. That was crazy.
We have the background. Put it up full mass. Let me tell you what happened to a man who was set on fire after a wildfire officer tased him at a gas pump. I'm taking you to Arizona. An Arizona man caught on fire after being tased by a fish and wildlife officer as he was pumping gas last month. Now, you may be wondering.
Yeah. I'm wondering what did he do to get tased by the fish police?
What is a fish cop doing at the gas station threatening to taser a person? Well, we have the background. Clarence Cole said he has suffered first and second degree burns and nerve damage to his hands. Here's the background. According to Cole, he and a friend went fishing. They went fishing at the Havasu National Wildlife Refuge on July 16th and arrived at an area known as Catfish.
You know, I hear people say on the internet, there's no situation that a police officer can't make worse. And from these videos that I'm seeing, seems like that's 100% true.
Paradise when they were approached by a United States Fish and Wildlife officer. He goes, quote, "You guys are trespassing. You need to leave now," end quote. I said, quote, "Okay, fine," end quote. And he got snotty all of a sudden. And he goes, quote, "Well, I'll give you a ticket," end quote. And I said, quote, "Give me a ticket for trespassing," end quote. And I got in my truck. And because he said leave, so I got in my truck and left, end quote. Now,
So for y'all that don't know, the way trespassing works is you have to be told to leave the place. And then you have to not leave the place to be trespassing. If I'm allowed to be there and I'm not told to leave, you can't then say I'm trespassing because I didn't leave because I was never told to leave. So once he was told to leave, he got in his truck and tried to leave. How can I get a ticket?
gone over trespassing cases in the past. We've even had comments and segments from judges who explained trespass to their courtroom and by proxy, the indisputable audience.
Right.
In order to enforce a trespass, you must first have a trespass warning. That is typical. That is standard. After you have been warned that you are in violation of a trespass law, you then, if you do not make a reasonable opportunity for exit, you then can be held criminally or civilly liable.
Yep. That's what I
The
just said.
encounter did not
Basically.
end with the man leaving. The encounter did not end there, according to Cole. He stopped at the fuel station at an Indian reservation before heading home, where he says he encountered the same officer again. Quote, I come out with my 2 sodas in my hand and my wallet, and he's screaming at me, quote, give me your ID, give me your ID, end quote. And I'm going, quote, no, what for? End quote. You know, there's no reason for me to give it unless you explain to me.
If I left, then I don't have to identify because I haven't broken a law. So you can't then follow me to the gas station and say, give me your ID.
Another quote, Cole said, he started pumping gas
And then set me on fire.
when the confrontation occurred. Another quote, you're going to go to jail. All I'm asking for is your license right now to identify you. End quote, the officer shouts. Now, before I continue, it seems as if the fish cop is well outside of his jurisdiction at this point.
Well past
But
it.
technically, he's not. I will explain that in a moment.
Okay.
But this is obviously abnormal. So the officer shouts, identify, so I can identify you. And then Cole says, what am I being arrested for? And then this is when the training or lack thereof of the fish cop starts to show. Quote, you are not cooperating for having committed a crime is why you're being arrested.
That's laughable.
The officer says back, quote, what? A misdemeanor? A misdemeanor, a-hole? It's a $10, and that's when the taser was deployed. He says before the crack of the officer's stun gun deploying cuts him off, the phone drops to the ground as the viewer sees flames erupt and the man's screams are heard. Quote, all I asked you was.
But did he, so you didn't think that something might go wrong by this gas pump? Your situational awareness is that low that you didn't think that something could go wrong next to gasoline? Incompetent.
I'm being arrested and why you wouldn't explain it to me, Cole is heard saying. So at this point, you have no attempt from the officer at de-escalation. As a matter of fact, everything that we have on the record, it seems as if the officer engaged and promoted escalation. Trespass can be enforced only when a trespass has been warned. There was no warning of trespass. The trespass cannot be enforced. The man made a reasonable opportunity for exit, according to his side of the story.
Right.
He is then caught up with at a gas station, which means he left the immediate proximity of the cop, once again reinforcing that there's no action.
No actual trespass
happening. The cop then demands identification. Suspect, you have to assume you're a suspect at this point of something. Says, what am I being arrested for? Why do you need my ID? And then the cop decides to deploy the taser at a gas pump. Anyone who's trained on taser protocol, they are taught never to discharge at a gas pump. Do not discharge around active voltage. Do not discharge if the person has a pacemaker. There are rules and regulations to follow if you are taser certified. He then waited for paramedics.
Well, he doesn't care about that because there's probably policies that he's not following also. Like the law, trespass law.
According to the report.
Well, that's not a policy,
but he says, what am I being arrested for? Cole said, you're not cooperating. Cole said, the cop said, you are not cooperating for having committed a crime. The officer says back, what a misdemeanor, et cetera, et cetera. So then the flames go up. He then waited for paramedics. He was rushed to the hospital. Cole said he suffered first and second degree burns on his hands and severe nerve damage, but police.
When your bad day can ruin someone's life, you should be held to a higher standard.
Never followed up on his, alleged criminal activity, whatever that activity may have been in the minds of the cop. Quote, and I spent 5.5 hours there. Not a single officer or anything followed up to write a report, question me, or nothing. Nobody showed up at the hospital at all for any of this, Cole said. Cole said he's been unable to recover mentally from the horrifying incident yet and still has nightmares today. Quote, I start shaking really bad and I start having flashbacks, and I've been having really bad nightmares over this. That's post-traumatic, okay? The officer's exact identity is unclear, but the name of his uniform says P. Nielsen, okay? The USFWS is conducting an investigation into the taser deployment, which could have been improper according to a policy forbidding such a use near explosive or flammable materials like those at a gas station. It's a damn shame.
Yeah, this is a crazy story. Lit that man up, then traumatized him. I hope he don't get away with this. I hope that man gets him some justice, because that's crazy. Followed the directions and you left, and you still got set on fire. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, send it to your cousin.